Well, hello beautiful people, my name is Teresa and I am your cruise director on the magical mystery tour that is this channel. Today, and this is the second time I am filming it because we had issues with how long the video was, I am doing OXX Cosmetics, which is from Kmart here in Australia. I'm not sure for those that are overseas. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it is available overseas. Hopefully it is, but I actually can't tell you. I've got a heap of stuff in front of me. I am going to do something a bit different from my first attempt at filming because I've found a product that I love. But first up, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell to be alerted to any new uploads, and if you like this video at the end, please give it a big thumbs up. So let's get to it. Okay, as I said, I had filmed this and I'm going to use a lot of the similar products, but just before I take my glasses off and get to it, in the first upload I used these three products: the bronze balm in the shade Fawn, the blush balm in the shade Rose, and the highlighting balm, and I can't even read it, I want to say Opal. If you like a creamy balm product, look at those. They have other shades in all of these. They are fantastic. I want to say they're $6 or $8 each, and I do love them, but I found something that I'm going to use instead of that today. But I just wanted to mention it. And also, if you are a super pale porcelain girly, their cream bronzer, which is different to the balm, this light shade, look at that, that is for the fairest of girls. This is in the shade Light. You can see I've used that a fair bit. It's a bronzer for the palest of girls. We have got some of the new Sparkling Rose products. They've brought out a whole heap from it. Today we're going to use one of their eyeshadows, which is Sunset Goddess, which is this. We're going to use their blush and highlighter here. Now, I'm showing you this for a reason, and you'll see later on. And their powder highlighter. Look at those. So, the last thing that I want to mention is their powder face palette. This is in the shade Light. It's a highlighter, blusher, and bronzer. This lives permanently on my desk. I use this more than I use any of the face palettes that I've got from luxury brands, and it was $6. So what does that tell you? So let's get to it. First up, we are going in, I've got a couple of products here. We have the Strobe cream and we have the instant bronzing drops. These have just gone viral recently. They are not a dupe for Drunk Elephant. This looks massive compared to, and this is the Drunk Elephant size packaging, just this looks so much bigger. Yeah, it's not. These are 30 mils. This is 29. It's skinnier. It's deceptive. Always read the volume on it. So let's get into it. First up, I'm going to go in with the Strobe cream. I've taken my glasses off now, so it's just luck of the draw to see how I go with shades, because if I don't, everything's going to be listed in the description box, all the shades. It's just easier for me. I'm blind. If you've been watching the channel, you know my eyesight is terrible. This nozzle, it's really interesting. It's almost like a medical nozzle. This is quite runny. This is sort of a rosy gold. It is super fluidy and it absorbs into the skin really well. Does it give you a huge glow? No, it doesn't. I'm just putting a little bit more on to see. It makes your skin feel hydrated. It gives a very, it doesn't give a glow at all, to be quite honest. Now going in with the instant bronzing drops. Just give them a shake. So this is quite runny. It's a warmer tone. It's not as muddy looking as a lot of these bronzing drops can be. Like this is a more goldy, rosy base. Okay, I'm going to apply with a brush. I've put way too much on here on my palette, but let's see how this buffs out. Obviously you can mix in like the De Bronzy does. You can mix in with a moisturizer. You can mix in with your foundation to darken it up. I look ridiculous. I look ridiculous. I look like an Oompa Loompa. Right, let's get a damp beauty blender. Well, damp makeup sponge, not a beauty blender, and get some of that off. This is one of their sponges. It comes in, it's about $15 for, I want to say 15 or 20? 12 normal sizes and 5 mini ones. This is quite bouncy. Is it the best quality in the world? No, it's not, but it's certainly better than a lot on the market. Oh my God. Is there going to be any coming back from this? This looks stupid. No, let's just plug on. I mean, that looks insane. May have to restart that in a second. Going in now with the Luminous Glow Foundation. This is the shade Caramel. Caramel? This is caramel. This is not caramel. This is like the second lightest shade. Caramel. Okay, this has a spatula. Whoops, I've just spilt that everywhere. This has a spatula application, right? Quite a few of the cheaper brands sort of have this. I know Wet n Wild do. I want to say an Australis one maybe did. Let's see if there is any hope bringing it back. I am making an absolute bloody mess. I'm going in with, this is one of their brushes. This is a 4D knockoff of a Sigma one, quite frankly. It's actually not a bad brush. They're ones that are this pinky fleshy colour one are not too bad actually. I mean, they're not great, but I have been using them and I don't mind them. Do I reach for them all the time? No, I don't. But they're okay. Are we going to save this? Are we going to? Oh, we might. Actually, I've used this foundation numerous times. I want to say it's $6. For the price point, it always looks quite lovely. And it may have pretty much fixed, possibly, the issue that we had from me turning into an Oompa Loompa. I'm just going to grab this makeup sponge again, and I've just got a little bit extra on it. That's applied really nice with a brush, and I would generally recommend applying this with a brush because it is a thinner product. I'm just going over with a sponge only because I need it to fix up that bloody error. I think we've managed to save that. See, trust the process. Trust the process. This is now their concealer. I want to say it's probably in Ivory. Can't read it. It's a couple of bucks. It's very thin. Now this is darker than the foundation, right? You don't have to worry about that though, because what it's going to do is it's sort of going to colour correct under here. I don't need to super brighten. As we're getting more mature, we can look a little bit ridiculous if we're too bright under the eyes, and this is better for disguising any bags, any sunkenness that we have. Let's colour correct and just stamp that in. under the eyes. It's really thin. It's a thinner product that is dispersing quite nicely. It doesn't feel heavy or cakey at all. And you can see it's sort of helped disguise where I'm looking a bit sunken under there, which is why I'm starting to go for these slightly darker, more peachy color corrective tones, because it is doing that. We've done it. We don't look like an Oompa Loompa. Now, you wouldn't have thought that if you hadn't been watching, would you? You would have just gone, holy crap. So let's set our face now. We are going in with the Mattifying setting powder. So first up, I'm just going to let that dry down a little bit. My foundation and my concealer, that will stop it from getting creasy, that will stop it from looking cakey. So I've let that dry for a bit of a minute to set down. So this is Mattifying. We're starting to move here in Australia, we're moving into more cooler weather, and obviously a lot of people want to wear a bit more heavier makeup or look a little bit more mattified as we're moving into winter. Obviously this is Luminous. I'm using this because I wanted to try it because I'd heard really good reviews about it. If it is mattifying, it doesn't mean you're going to lose your glow. It's all about how you set it after the fact. So just going in as per usual, triangular puff for underneath the eyes, just to get a bit more coverage. Stamp off excess, push it into the puff. Over the nose. I like to use a puff on my T-zone just to, my skin's pretty balanced, but I want to ensure that it's going to last. It used to be quite dry. You can see that has really blurred out that area. My skin used to be really dry. I've worked really hard to get it to a balanced point now. I can pretty much use any product. It doesn't matter if it's a mattifying product or a luminous product. I can generally work with it. Thank God. I know I'm lucky. Going in with a fluffy brush now. Tap that off. This won't have as much coverage as we do in the T-zone, just because we're going in with a brush, but it's still pretty good coverage. Now what tends to happen, that's really good, what tends to happen at this point is that we can start to look a bit flat. Like you can see most of the luminosity is gone, right? It doesn't matter what setting spray you use. You can use any setting spray. I don't have an OXX one. I wasn't going to buy one for it. I do have, this is just the MCO Beauty one. As I said, any setting spray will do. We need to bring that luminosity back and ensure that we're not going to end up with cakiness and melt all of this in. So let's give it a really good spray. Can you see? I don't know if you can see how wet my face is. What this is doing is, we want to use that much. I don't touch up my makeup throughout the course of the day. It regularly lasts 12 hours, 13, 14 hours with just the slightest little bit of wear and tear from where I've touched my face. I'm going to fan that down to dry now, and you'll see that we'll have a bit more hydration back into our face. Okay, so we've dried that down, and if you take a look, the skin's starting to skin now. It doesn't look like it's sitting on top anymore. It has absorbed into the skin. It's looking pretty natural. It doesn't look like a cake fest is happening anymore. Obviously, I've used powder over the top. I like to then, I will add cream over the top of it any given time of the day. Before I'd mentioned this powder face palette that I love, I've been using that. I won't be today. I've been using that in conjunction with this. This is what I have replaced the balms with that I spoke about earlier on. I had this to try. They've got a cream version of it. Bronzer, blush, highlighter. this is good. $6, guys. $6. Going in first with the cream bronzer. Stamping that off. This I am obsessed with. I did an Instagram live the other day and was talking about this. People were asking me to recommend some favorites in categories, and I ended up picking these products because, and I mean, I have Charlotte Tilbury, I have NARS, I have Laura Mercier, I have Benefit, I have a lot of products that probably cost a lot more money than these. And look at that, it's buildable, it builds up, but this is going to blend away for me. It's not going to look too much. And under the jawline, down the little T-bar to help disguise. It's not going to get rid of the double chin. I've got it here. I can't remember where I got this. Well, I can. It's from Kmart, but I don't know if it was part of a pack. This is the OXX. It's a nose contour brush. I don't know if it's still available, but I'm going to use it for this at the moment. Down the side of my wonky nose. Under the lip. So you can really build this up. This comes in 3 shades, light, medium and dark in these palettes. Going in now with this really nice soft rosy cream blush. It's not as pigmented as the balms is what I'll say. So the balms you can put on and all of a sudden be, oof, it's too much. It's quite intense pigment on it. This is not. This gives you, I think, a bit more control, and it's the cost of one of them. Okay, that's beautiful. I really, really, really like this. I think it's quite youthful looking. Going in now with the cream highlight. Again, just stamping off the excess there. And just over the top of where the placement for this is. Center of the nose, chin. I need to check the price on this. $8. $8 for either the cream or the powder version. So I would suggest grabbing both. Look. Now, if you're not worried about longevity and you want to stick to wholly and solely cream products, you can with this. And it looks beautiful. Like, it looks beautiful. I am going to go in with some powder products. I'm going to use, just because I don't have an individual powder bronzer, I'm going to use the bronzer from this face palette to set the cream bronzer. Now, going over any cream products, going over, obviously I laid all those cream products down over powder. You can see it hasn't broken it down, it hasn't disrupted it. It's because I stamp my products in. I don't buff them as such. It's not going to disturb it, except for under the chin I buff it, but that's okay because it's not up on my face. What I want to show you now is the Sparkling Rose collection has a highlighter and blush. We are going to use this as a blush lighter. Why are we going to use this as a blush lighter? Because it is a dupe for Rare Beauty new blushes. These are a blush lighter. They're not a straight blush. They are a mix of their powder highlighter and their soft pinch blush, right? This is the shade Hope. It's one of their most popular shades in their liquid blush. This is the $6 Sparkling Rose. These look the same on the cheek. These look the same on the cheek. He's going to come up in a video very, very soon where I use both of these together. But for today's purpose, I'm going to go in to both. Tap it off and just gently go in very soft, because this is quite pigmented and it's quite glowy. All right, if you just go in softly, can you see the glow? Look at that beautiful glow. This is good. This is really good. I would recommend that. If you have been wondering if these blushes are suitable for your skin, if you are worried that the Rare Beauty is going to make your skin look textured, which was a big thing on them when they come out, what I would say is go in softly with that. But if you want to see if you like that sort of effect, this, again, $6 or $8, gives you an identical look, so I would suggest trying that. And then if you really like it and you want some variety on colour, then you can look at the Rare Beauty. But it gives you a really nice glow. Going in now, they have the Sparkling Rose Highlighter. This looks like a Charlotte Tilbury product. I don't know if her Hollywood Architect has something as pale as that. I have Champagne Pop and Pillow Talk. This isn't a bad highlighter either. So we'll go in with the powder highlighter, just so you can see. This is just lightening up the tip of this, where we've put this blush lighter over the forehead. We put our highlighter at the high points of our face. Bounce the light. I mean, guys, come on. She's looking pretty. What do you think so far? I'm just going to, before we get into eyes, I am just going to prime my eyes with my MAC paint pot, and I'll be right back. Right, so we have primed our eyes. I know that they do have a primer, but I think it's only about $2. I try to be fair to, sorry, just fixing up my top there. I try to be fair to all of the products as I'm trying them. You won't often see me veer off from the MAC paint pot. I know that that works for me. I do have, however, I have Milani that I've just started using again, and I have a NYX one to try. But I tend to stick to that because I know it gives me the best payoff. And in order to be fair, if I used the same primer, I could say an eyeshadow is absolutely tragic when it could be in fact the primer that I'm using. Now I've got their Brow Blade eyebrow pencil. This is a standard brow pencil on one end and then a felt tip on the other. So this is just a brown, like I think it's actually just called brown. I don't think it's a mid brown. I don't think it's a cool brown, dark brown. I feel like I could do with running this over paper to sharpen it a bit. Okay, I've just actually run it over a receipt to sharpen it. I've used this a bit, so it's gotten a bit blunt. And you can, now I've sharpened that nib again, you can do that and get more of a flat, that's better, straight away, more of a flat tip on it to give you a bit more precision. And in fact I do that with a lot of my brow pencils that are like this, that aren't a micro pencil, because the micro ones you don't really need to, but these ones that are slightly larger, it sort of helps you have a bit more of a precise movement to it if you run them over something to sharpen them. Okay, I haven't, as you can see, I haven't gone right in at the front. Whoops, I haven't gone right in at the front yet because I'm going to use the blade end of that there, the felt tip. Okay, just going in with individual hairs now, which look, I don't think it's given me individual hairs. I don't think. No, it hasn't given me individual hairs at all. It has given me some colour, but I don't know if this is me using it and I've just gone in a bit too hard. I don't not like it, but it's not giving me individual hairs as such. It's a bit too wet to do that. I think if it was, I'd almost prefer, instead of it being that little sort of tip like that, I'd almost prefer a fine point, stiffer texture into it to get individual hairs, I think. Like if that's the concept that it is going for. So we're going in now with the Sunset Goddess, the new quad in the Sparkling Rose. Going into the lighter shade. And just using that in our sort of crease area and above. She's flesh coloured. Well, my flesh coloured. There's not a lot of colour in this, but I guess if you are paler than I am or darker than I am, I mean, this, I could use this as, hey, look at that, I could use this as a setting powder. It matches my shade that much. I'm beige. I'm beige. Okay, so that's the 4 shades on it. This shimmer gold feels really, really dry. This does not. This is a satin. This is matte. This I think might be a bit of a satin as well. That is the shades on there. Okay, so I'm going to risk it and go into this now, just in the front area. Yeah, this is quite satiny. So you don't want this. You need to be careful with this, with if you have hooded eyes and aging eyes. It's not that it won't work, but for hooded eyes you don't want to put it out on the outer corner because it'll make your hood stand out even more, and on aging eyes we have to be careful that it doesn't look too textured, because look here, sitting into, you've just got to be really careful with it. It's not to say it won't work, and this is working quite fine, but if you are concerned about texture, that could be one of the issues. Going in now with this dark chocolatey satin. This is a pretty shade. Let's see how it translates on the eye. Just packing it there on that outer corner. And the same on the other. And then we're going to blend in a minute. It's more about building that up. Now this will be interesting to see. I'm going to clean this off because I don't want to add any more product than what I've got on here. Okay, this is important. You go right down the end now. Cleaned off the brush, so as you can see, nothing left on it. Hold your brush right down the end. This allows you to control the intensity of what you're about to do. You want to fluff this out. You want a soft, gentle touch, and we're going to just tickle that out over the edge. You don't want to go too hard with it. As you can see, this is just starting to diffuse now. Holding it down the end here gives you that greater control. And then you can just bring it just a little bit forward. You can see we've still got all the intensity there. And this is just tickling out. It's diffusing it out. And this is how you start to get a seamless look and an airbrushed look to your eyeshadows. This is a $6 or $8 eyeshadow quad. So you go, my expectations aren't particularly big with it. Cleaning that brush off again now. Just going back in. Now I'm turning it sort of vertical. Just to get a bit more there. If you do these things, if you hold the brush like I'm telling you, tilting it down now, and you do this extra step when you're using your makeup, you will get the style of look that you want if you are wanting your makeup to look like it has been done professionally and that you have spent a lot of time on it. Obviously, as I do these, it takes a bit of time. I'm doing it slowly. I'm talking through it. I can do this in a few minutes myself when I'm not filming, as will you be able to if you follow. It's just practice. Pretty happy with where that's sitting now. That's giving us a really pretty look. Going in with my finger, if you have long fingernails, I would suggest something like a flat packer brush. Even something like this that is angled and flat and has got a bit of surface coverage. My nails are short, I can go in with my finger. If you are using a flat brush though, always pack it on, like spray it, pack it on, spray it. It will allow you to have the intensity that you get from a finger. Otherwise, you're just not going to get the payoff. Another finger. Now, as I said, because these are all sort of satiny and shimmery, the issue is that you can end up looking like it has a bit of texture to it. And this does, I'm not going to lie, it does look like it's got a bit of texture, but it's not off-putting to me. It's still a really pretty look. Going back in with that brush for the darker shade there. Just sort of going over that join. And these are the little steps that you need to remember. Always looking, ideally when you're doing your makeup, I've got a mirror right next to my lens here, like I'm looking at you, looking in the mirror. Have it at eye height, because aging hoods, aging eyes, hooded eyes, even if you don't have either, you need to be doing your eyeshadow at eye height, looking straight ahead. If you're looking down into a mirror like this, if you're looking up into something, you are not going to end up with the look that you think that you've done. Okay, I'm just going to go under the eye now. This is a smudger brush going in with that darker brown, tapping it off, just going along the waterline. I don't think I've got an eyeliner from OXX. Just tucking that in there. And we're going to diffuse that a little bit. So we're going to clean off the brush. We've just cleaned off the brush now, so it's not going to add any more. Just look up and you just come down to the edge. If you just back and forth on this, just come down to the end of your eyelashes essentially. That does two things. It smokes it out. It softens any harsh lines that you may have in the product that you've put underneath there. Also, what it will do is, I have wrinkles and lines. They're not even fine lines anymore, underneath my eye. I do not want any of my products to crease underneath there. This buffs it out and prevents that creasing from happening. Going in first with this soft mauve, I think. I don't know if I'm going to use the gold. Oh, we might still. Just tucking that near the inner corner. Cleaning it off. Going into the gold now. Tap that off. Tuck that in there. Build that up. And just bring that up a little bit there, just on that very inner corner. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at. I'm really happy with where that is. I do have an eyeliner from them. It's a nude one, so let's open up our eyes a little bit with that. That's really brightening. As far as a brightening and for making your eyes look bigger, a fleshy nudie colour. I like that. Look at that. That's probably nicer than most of my brightening eyeliners, to be quite honest. Okay, so we are getting close to the end. I do not have a mascara from OXX. I have this clear one, which I'm not going to use on my eyes. That is going in my brows to set them. I've tried a couple of their mascaras. They are terrible. They are terrible. They do nothing. They may darken your eyelashes, but you don't get any volume, you don't get any length. I think the last time I used one, I literally threw it over my shoulder in a video while I was using it on an Instagram live. They're crap. What I'm going to do now is set my face one final time. I will put some mascara on, as I said, because I don't have one of their mascaras, and then we'll be back to do lips and have a discussion on final thoughts on the brand. Let's get to lips now. I have a lip liner here that is from one of their lip kits. That is the dupe. Is it the dupe? It's a copycat in that. I don't know if it's the shading is an exact match, but this is copycatting Charlotte Tilbury. I'd say this is meant to be Pillow Talk. I don't think, I swatched it earlier, I don't think it's an exact shade match. But it's the only lip liner I've got from them. It's not a particularly creamy lip liner. It's quite dry-ish. Let me reword that. It's not as dry as a pencil wooden barrel one, but it is drier than a lot on the market that you wind up. I'm not mad at that. It allows it with a bit more precision. So that's a rosy sort of tone. I'm going in with a bit of a mix here now. Oh, that sounds loose. I have a matte lipstick in mauve and I have a luster in taupe. I'm going to mix these two together. Their lipsticks are $2. Great bang for buck in their lipsticks. But this is not the right shade to wear with this. But it is pretty, you've got to admit. So I'm just going to change the colour just so that you can see this shade before it mixes with the mauve. That's what it's like. And so what I've essentially done is mix something that's a sort of a cross between these two, really. Hey, and this just is pulling that mauve back, and then just going to and adding some warmth to it, and also adding a slight little shine to it. Last up, if you can still find this, this is a gloss that I have from the Retro Dreams collection. I just really like the tonality, like the gorgeous peachy pinky shade. Just to add a bit more gloss to it. That smells good. May or may not be available anymore. So that's it. I mean, have a look. When you think that not a single product here, and it may have been $8, may have been the dearest product, certainly wasn't over 10, I don't believe. It looks good. The products that I love, that foundation is beautiful. Those bronzing drops, that was a me issue. It wasn't a them issue. I've used them before, no problems whatsoever. That was nearly a disaster. Mix it how it's meant to. Make sure your face is super hydrated. Mix it in with your moisturizer. Mix it in with your foundation. Don't slather a shit ton on your face like I did. And try and become a member of the Lollipop Guild. So, like I said, that was a me problem, not a them problem. The foundation is beautiful. You would not think it's a $6 foundation. The setting powder is fantastic. The concealer's not too bad. Is it my favourite concealer? No, but have I used it a fair bit? Yeah, I actually have. The face palettes in either the powder or the cream are phenomenal. They do really... Their face products, I think that's where they excel at. Their balm blush bronzer highlighter is beautiful too, that I've used previously, but their cream palettes, their face, stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Their letdown that they have is in their eyeshadows. They've got a few different types of ones on the market at the moment, so you know, obviously the Sparkling Rose is what is out at the moment. You can also get, I haven't used this, you can also get this type. These are not the best quality. This is their letdown. I can manage to generally get a really nice look out of it, and I'll always get comments on it, but unless you're used to working with very different formulas, if you can have the patience to put into a blend, you're not going to be happy. There are so many better ones out on market, and if you like luxury, then you're not going to like that. I haven't tried this. I'm keen to try it to see what it's like. I'm not having a lot of expectations about it. As I said, their eyeshadows are one of their weakest products. Their weakest product, absolutely 100%, is their mascaras. Don't even bother. They are... they're not even worth the under $10 that they are. Wait until Priceline or Chemist Warehouse has a sale. They quite often have 50% off their mascaras. Go get yourself a L'Oreal, CoverGirl, whatever brand floats your boat, and you'll be much happier, because you'll be wasting your money if you grab one of their mascaras. Just avoid. Don't do it. Step away from the mascara thinking you're getting a bargain. This eyeshadow look is really, really pretty in the end. But you can run the risk to it being muddy. You do have to work a little bit and build it up. And again, this is satin. I do like it, but it is not, they're really hit and miss with their eyeshadows, I do have to say. Go check them out if you haven't. Let's just zoom in one last time. Have a look. I mean... I'd like to put this up against some expensive brands just to see. It might have to go on the list. That is it, my friends. Please, down in the comments, let me know if there is any other brand you'd like me to have a bit of a play around in. Obviously, it's sort of a series where I do a full face of brands. I've got stuff there. Sometimes I only need 1 or 2 items to be able to do that. If I can do it, I will. I may not. I won't be able to do every brand that people mention, no doubt. It won't happen. But if I am at all able, absolutely, please let me know what products floats your boat. In the meantime, don't forget to tell your mum, tell your sister, tell your friends to come along and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment down below. Come and join this community. Have a look. Until next time, take care. Bye.